Hey gang, what's up man? Hope you guys are doing good today, and thanks for tuning in for another tip video here. And today I'm going to sort of do a product review a little bit on shaky heads. You know, this is one of my favorite time of years, probably my favorite time of year to fish a shaky head is when those fish get close to spawning. You know, we're sort of in the mid to late pre-spawn depending upon where you are in the country, and when those fish start to get set up and they're staging and they're getting close to spawning, they may be several weeks away from it still, maybe 3 weeks. It just depends on the weather and everything. But once they get into that mode, one of the best ways to catch numbers and size of fish is on a shaky head. I just love to fish them around secondary points, rocky banks, flat banks, back ends of coves, around boat docks. It's just a really good way to catch them. I'm going to say it's probably the best way to catch a bass during the late pre-spawn is on a shaky head in most parts of the country, if you have water visibilities that are over 2 feet. So what I want to do today is I want to sort of give you guys a product review on what I think the best shaky heads on the market are. And I've used them all, man. I've experimented with about every one of them that's possible out there. And I've learned the hard way. I've learned through a process of using them a lot, catching fish, losing fish, and that type of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys what I think that are the best shaky heads on the market. And when I talk about this, just know that I buy these heads just like you guys do. I don't get them free. I don't get a discount on them. I order them off Tackle Warehouse just like everybody else does. And I've included the Fish the Moment Tackle Warehouse link in the description here. If you guys are ever interested in ordering some of this stuff, you can order it through the Fish the Moment Tackle Warehouse link, and it helps Johnny and I out. Get a small percentage of that profit, so it's a good way to support fishthemoment.com and my channel too. So appreciate if you guys would do that. Okay, let's get into what my two favorite are right here. If you guys go on Tackle Warehouse website, you'll see there's just dozens and dozens of different type of shaky heads on the market out there. The first thing I'm going to tell you guys, based upon my experience with shaky heads, is I do not like the screw type shaky heads. If I could give you guys one piece of advice, is ignore all the shaky heads that have the little screws in them like that, where you screw your worm onto the end of the shaky head. Couple different reasons. I've experimented with those. I don't think the bait looks as natural. I think it looks a little bit more fake in the water. I've noticed that I lose more fish on it. I just don't get the hookups on it, and I just don't like them. I just do not like the screw type heads at all. So I use the non-screw type heads. So the first one I'm going to talk about that I use is the Davis Lure shaky head. Now this is my favorite shaky head when I'm using any type of a shaky head worm that's like over 5 inches long. Thing I like about this particular shaky head, it's got the O'Shaughnessy bend on it. I really like the O'Shaughnessy bend. I think it sticks the fish better than about any type of a jig shaky head out there. It's got a fairly small wire hook. I think this is about a 2/0, and it sets really good in the worm I'm going to show you. And the head on it, it's got this little horse head on it like that. And this thing stands straight up in the water. But the thing I really like about this is, see, it's got the recessed eye on it right there. And that recessed eye, it sort of has a cam action. When you set the hook, this thing sort of cams and twists, and it just hooks the fish really good. So it's a combination of the O'Shaughnessy style hook. I really like the length of the shank on there. It's got a good keeper on there. It's not too obtrusive, but it keeps the worm on good. And just the recessed eye and the horse head, is really effective. So the way I rig this is I like the Davis Lure's head if I'm using like a 6 or 7 inch worm for my shaky head. And I just think the hook sets up better. So what I do on these things is bite a little bit of the worm off. This is a Zoom trick worms, my favorite shaky head setup. And the key when you're rigging these things is, you don't want to go in too far. You only want to go in like 1/8 of an inch, just barely like that, just 1/8 of an inch. Because what happens if you go in too far, the worm sets down too far on the shank of the shaky head, and it doesn't look right. It doesn't set right on the worm. It doesn't appear more natural. So I come in about 1/8 of an inch, and what you want to do is you want to have this particular distance set up to where it locks in with the screw lock. See, you can see get that back there. See, I've got the keeper right there exposed, and that if you have like a 1/4 of an inch, or if you have more than what I've got right there, it extends down over that keeper and you'll lose it. But this locks it in real good, you know, just like an 1/8 of an inch. So I've got it like that, flat side down. I always use the flat side of the worm down. And then when I rig it, make sure that I come back and forth out of the worm 3 or 4 times, because I'm trying to create a channel in the worm, you know, because it's easier. So I create that channel, and then on my shaky heads, this is how I rig them. I leave that hook up exposed like that, unless I'm fishing really snaggy rocks, and then I might just barely put the point back in, just like that. But most of the time, I like to leave it exposed like that. And that setup there, you just don't miss them. So on the bigger worms, anything over 6 inch, a little bit larger diameter, Davis Lure Shaky Head is the one that I've experimented with, and it's my favorite one. The smallest that comes in, this is an 1/8 ounce. It's the smallest that comes in. Wish it would come in a 16th, but it doesn't. I've actually taken this 1/8 ounce and I've taken a file and filed it down to like 3/32, or even a 1/16 of an ounce if I want a real slow fall, then repaint the head. That works really good. So that's my setup there. Okay, the second one that I think is the best shaky head, and this is for an application for smaller baits, a little bit shorter worms, smaller profile worms. If you're using like a robo worm or something like that, that's a little bit smaller profile. The worm that I use in this one I'm going to show you is just the Zoom Finesse worm, smaller, a little bit smaller worm. And this one is the Picasso Rhino head. Now this is sort of similar, and I actually think Aaron Martin's designed both of these things. I think he'd helped with the Davis and with the Picasso. And the Picasso is similar, as you can see. It's got the similar sort of type of rhino head, and it's got the recessed eye again, which gives you that cam action, the good hooking, the good hooking aspect of it. It's got a really good keeper, the direct distance, and it's got a little bit smaller round bend, like a 2/0 hook. Sage, hold on a second. Sage, get out. Come on. Sage is digging around the tackle room. But see, this has got the round bend, a little bit smaller. This is like looks like about a 1/0, but it's still fairly stiff. Even this is a small hook, it's fairly stiff. Ideally, this would have an O'Shaughnessy, but they don't make it one. But anyway, when I'm using a 4-inch worm, I'm using the Picasso Rhino head with it. And I'll show you why. Bite the end off again. Again, come in about 1/8 of an inch, the same way with the Rhino head. And come in, I've got the keeper exposed like that. And then I'm doing the same thing, you know, I come through a couple times, leave it like that. And as you can see, this hook just fits better in a 4-inch worm. If you try to use the Davis Lures head, the Davis Shaky Head in there, the hook on the Davis Lures Shaky Head is too big for a 4-inch worm. It's too big for a robo worm. I think it overpowers it. So the reason I use the Rhino Picasso head on a 4-inch worm or a smaller profile worm is I just think the hook fits it better. And it's got a really good stiff hook. And these are my 2 setups, man. These, in my opinion, these are the 2 best shaky heads that you can use. In my opinion, they're the only ones you need. The Davis Lures head will take care of all your bigger shaky heads. The Picasso will take care of your smaller ones. Get a lot of bites, and I hardly ever miss any fish on these setups. But like I said, guys, I've experimented with a bunch of them, all of them out there for decades, really. And I can promise you that these 2, I think you'll be really happy if you try them. I think everybody probably has favorites. Everybody's tried a lot. One of the things I don't like about certain shaky heads, even the ones that have non-screw in, is I don't like a shaky head with too long of a shank on it. Because the longer shank that you have on a shaky head, the more it kills the action of the worm. So that's another reason I like these 2 heads. Is they have, you know, a little bit shorter shank than a lot of them. A lot of those shaky heads out there, they got these super long shanks on them, and it just kills the action of the worm. So my advice: stay away from the screw lock heads. Stay away from those long shank hooks. Don't overpower your worm with the hook size on it, with the hook bite gap on it, and you know, then you'll have a good shaky head setup. But that's my two guys. Davis Lures Shaky head right here. Picasso Rhino head. Again, I buy these things off Tackle Warehouse just like you do. I don't have any interest in promoting these other than to help you guys out, you know, to help you guys catch more fish, land more fish that bite. And that's just my honest assessment of the situation. So anyway, again, if you guys want to help out the channel, help out my channel, help out Fish the Moment, what we're doing here, like to order these, go through the Tackle Warehouse Fish the Moment link, and you can get them through there. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy the trip, the tip, much appreciated. And hey, one other thing I'd like to ask you guys, as far as, you know, YouTube's always changing this algorithm we have here. So, you know, it really helps out if you guys could subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And it really helps out if you like the video, if you hit that like button, or if you drop a comment. They like that interaction. So if you guys want to really support what I'm doing here and what Johnny's doing, make sure to always like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. That would be really good. So that's just a sort of a good trade for us providing this information. So hope you guys are doing good, and we'll be back tomorrow with another one. See you.